What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Steelers Breakdown Podcast. Nick Farabaugh here with you guys, and I have a very special guest with me, as we usually do on Preview Friday. I have my guy Jake Arthur from Locked On Colts. How you doing, man?
I am awesome, doing great. Not quite used to the Colts playing this meaningful of football midway through.
Yeah, the Steelers are playing meaningful but absolutely disgusting football, and that's not a surprise to any Steelers fan. But the Colts are actually playing what is, I think, a beautiful brand of football. Efficient. Jonathan Taylor looks great. Daniel Jones looks re-energized, and the defense is playing off them beautifully on top of that. So take me through, first of all, Jonathan Taylor, his impact on this team, and kind of what is allowing him to become what is one of the top running backs in football right now, if not the best.
Yeah, so to just kind of pile on with the coaching cliche stuff, it really does start up front with the Colts. Jonathan Taylor is an outstanding running back, arguably the best in the league still in terms of just talent and skill on his own, but the offensive line is playing incredibly well right now. 3/5 of that line we already knew with Bernhard Raimann, Quentin Nelson, and Braden Smith. Those guys have been awesome run blockers throughout their careers. Quentin Nelson is playing probably the best ball of his career right now. But then they plug in Tanner Bortolini and Matt Gonzalez as starters this year. And, going into the year, we're a little iffy about it just because, you're confident both those players will eventually be good, but that there'll be growing pains and what have you. But it's turned out like Bortolini looks like an all-pro right now, and Matt Gonzalez has been playing really, really well. Has been much better in pass protection than we thought he would be at this point. So the offensive line is doing really well. They're winning their blocks. Shane Steichen, how he is calling things and designing the run game, how this coaching staff is, it's very, I feel like it's pretty diverse, and they always throw new wrinkles at opponents. So even though opponents obviously want to try and stop Jonathan Taylor and everything, you hardly ever know where the extra blocker's coming from or what's happening. So they try to spread guys out a bit. They win their blocks, so it creates a lot of space. And Jonathan Taylor is big, fast, powerful. He can break tackles. He can make guys miss. His vision and patience has really, really come a long way. So they're as far as the run game goes, it feels like they're playing Madden on rookie mode right now. Because if you pile up the box to try and stop him, well, Daniel Jones has just kind of been a mercenary at taking what the defense has given him, and he's spreading the ball around really well. So you really kind of have to pick your poison when it comes to the Colts offense.
Yeah, the Steelers have struggled to stop the run and stop the pass. So good news for the Colts. They can do whatever probably they want in this game. But how about Daniel Jones? What's kind of been working for him and Shane Steichen's offense? He obviously has a plethora of weapons between Warren, Taylor, Pittman, Downs, Pierce, Mitchell. There's a lot of really good players on that offense. But what kind of really accentuates what Daniel Jones is doing well? And when he is in obvious passing situations, if they've gotten into those, how has he performed when the weight of the world is on his shoulder?
Yeah, it's been an incredibly pleasant surprise so far. Like, I didn't even think he necessarily beat out Anthony Richardson in whatever the quarterback competition actually was this summer. I thought he was very ho-hum and just unspectacular. But it's like they were hiding things that we just totally did not anticipate. His synergy with Shane Steichen has been just incredible. Like it feels like this is what Steichen's been waiting for his whole career, if not just with his time with the Colts. He's had veterans before. He's had, obviously the athleticism of Anthony Richardson, but he's got a guy in Daniel Jones now who is obsessed with the process, obsessed with the craft. Those two are talking around the clock, like all 24 hours of the day. They're bouncing things off of each other and talking ball. So they're speaking the same language, and their vision is kind of one right now. So that's part of it. Like the coaching, there's nothing Steichen has to really stress about. Jones has been really good before the snap at kind of identifying pressure and where there might be issues and getting guys in the right spot, audibling out of things, shifting protections, things like that. And then he is a guy that is not really going to lock into one player. So this Colts receiving group, just pass catchers in general, is obviously pretty good. they don't have like a superstar there outside of, if you want to refer to Tyler Warren as that at tight end at some point in his career. But, Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman Jr., Tyler Warren, Jonathan Taylor has gotten much better as a pass catcher this year. There's no one that is letting the group down, and there hasn't really shown to be any like weak spots yet. Again, we're midway through, and it feels like something has got to kind of settle down at some point, because the efficiency in the scoring it's literally like at a historic pace right now. But yeah, everybody's just kind of stepping up, and Daniel Jones, when he was in New York, got kind of known for turning the ball over and never testing things deep either. He's only turned the ball over in 2 games so far, and he's willing to push the ball downfield as well. Like, Alec Pierce has not disappeared from the offense like a lot of us thought he might, just because we've seen when the Colts have quarterbacks who either don't have the arm strength or are averse to throwing downfield, like Gardner Minshew was. Matt Ryan didn't have the arm anymore. Like, we have seen Pierce disappear from the offense because he's not being used, but he looks just as dangerous as ever. He's averaging like 19 yards a catch. Like, Jones is just willing to look anywhere and everywhere, and he's kind of spreading the wealth.
It's been impressive. I mean, you look at some of these stats. I think they're 8th in success rate among offenses since 2000. I mean, this isn't just the best offensive football right now. It's an all-time efficient offense right now. So what does Steichen do for you? I know this has been a thing with Mike Tomlin and his defense. Shane Steichen has just dominated him. I mean, that's really what's been averaging 30 points per game in 3 games, beat him with Joe Flacco and Anthony Richardson, beat him with Jalen Hurts, beat him with Gardner Minshew, and now you got Daniel Jones. What does Steichen do to, you think, frustrate Mike Tomlin's defense, and what does he do in general that really accentuates the skill sets he has on this offense?
Yeah, so it's the defenses that don't really mask things, and like they stick to their principles and what they do all the time. Those defenses, he really attacks them and goes for their weak spots. Whether it's zone, and he'll dial up the zone beaters for the week, and just he is not going to try and get too cute. Like, he'll identify the weakness and he'll just keep hammering it. But he also is not too proud to kind of force his system each week. I don't even necessarily know that he has a system. Like, he has principles and like pillars of what he likes to call, but each week is kind of a new game plan. So opponents don't always know what to expect week to week from what they're going to call. Now, in general, the Colts do like to kind of go heavy with the pass early on and soften things up and get some points on the board so that they can use Jonathan Taylor in the second half to kind of just run it out and kind of get the clock disappearing in that second half. But yeah, as far as kind of those more static defenses and attacking, like the Steelers specifically, I think we've seen a lot of, the intermediate stuff work pretty well, and the run game has worked really, really well. Like, they even had 2 years ago, it was like Trey Sermon and Tyler Goodson combined for like a huge game because Jonathan Taylor was out, Zach Moss was out. So they really want to get, establish that run a bit. Like I mentioned, just kind of going off balance and kind of switching things up in the run game and keeping the defensive fronts guessing. I know they're definitely going to want to do that this week. And then, looking at Tucker Kraft last week, I've got to imagine he's got heart eyes right now for what he sees with Tyler Warren and what they might be able to do on Sunday.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. Steelers haven't really been able to defend quick game. They haven't been able to defend tight ends. Running backs have been hit or miss. Some of them have gone off, but I expect Jonathan Taylor to have a good game. But let's flip to the other side of the ball because I think if the Steelers are going to win this game, they're going to have to put up a lot of points. And the Steelers' offense has been a high floor unit, not necessarily a super high ceiling unit, but they've been pretty consistent with Aaron Rodgers. And their run game's really working right now. They were able to run on the Packers, and it kind of went away from it for whatever reason. But tell me about this Colts defense. They get a lot of turnovers. They're pretty low in the league in terms of passing yards per game, but that's probably because they're just ahead so much and teams have to pass against them. So talk to me about what Lou Anarumo's done defensively to kind of accentuate the strengths of this Colts secondary and the new guys like Cameron Bynum and those that have really fit in well in that Colts secondary.
Yeah, so what the defense is supposed to be doing right now, they're not really capable of doing that at the moment. They have been just incredibly snake bitten with injuries, especially at corner. So I think they wanted to play a lot of man defense and then let that buy them some time and coverage so that they could. I mean, they're going to usually throw a number of blitzes out there throughout a game. I mean, Lou's never going to be not aggressive there, but they want to try and get that 4-man rush to win a bit more. But they're down to what it seems like they're like 10th and 11th corners at this point. So they're doing probably more zone than they wanted to. It's younger guys who are kind of taking their lumps a little bit, and the pass rush it gets pressure, but it doesn't necessarily get it quick enough. So it is forcing like some errant throws and some mistakes from quarterbacks. But that's one reason you're kind of seeing some yards being given up in recent weeks. Now, another part of it is the big leads in second halves are making defense or opposing offenses go one dimensional, and all they can really do is throw the ball. But this is a matchup here where I agree with you. I think if Pittsburgh's going to win, it's going to have to be a bit of a shootout. But at the same time, I think if they can run the ball in opportune times, because I don't think it's realistic that they're just going to be able to ground and pound and control the clock and win that way. But if they can run in opportune times, I think they'll probably be able to do that. Grover Stewart's banged up right now with a foot. We'll see if he plays. Hopefully he does. But he hasn't been practicing this week. But behind DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart, there's an opportunity to run the ball a bit because Adetomiwa Adebawore and Neville Gallimore are your next defensive tackles up, and they're much more pass rushers than they are run defenders. And the Colts are down a couple of defensive ends as well, Samson Ebukam and Tyquan Lewis. They were both out last week, and they've been missing practice this week as well. And then it's gotten better in recent weeks, especially since the Colts signed Jermaine Pratt. But the linebackers fitting the run had been a problem early on in the season. A team like Pittsburgh who can run the ball, I think might have its chances to do so in this matchup. Whether that's how you get through the red zone or not, maybe that's just how they're going to do it. DK Metcalf as well. I don't know if the Colts really have anyone to match up very well with him. They got a young kid in Jonathan Edwards who's like a height, weight, speed guy, but he's an undrafted rookie. He's in the right position sometimes, but just not right where the ball is at, where it's going. Jalen Jones has been on. He's been a starting outside corner for them for the last couple years, but isn't necessarily the best scheme fit for Lou. So he kind of went down the priority board a little bit. But with how many injuries they have, he's in his second week of the practice window from IR, from a hamstring injury. He may be coming back this week, and that's probably the guy that matches up best with DK because Charvarius Ward is on IR with a concussion, repeated concussions this season. So that's who easily would have been the answer to match up with DK. Yeah, if Pittsburgh can run it a little bit and then just have their success with what they do well with DK, then that's probably the best recipe to get some points out there.
You mentioned the run game. I think that's going to be a big thing here. Steelers like to go heavy, a lot of 6 offensive line, really 7. I mean, if you want to count Darnell Washington, who is like over 300 pounds probably. That's been really their recipe, and no one's been able to stop this jumbo package. How do you think the Colts are kind of equipped to handle what might be a real heavy package, multiple tight ends? The Steelers lead the league in 12 personnel usage. I think they're second in 13 personnel, so multiple tight ends. And they're going to have size, and the wide receiver is usually a DK, so you got a big guy being a wide receiver too. How did the Colts handle that type of size, and how do they game plan for that plus the play action and things that the Steelers are utilizing in that jumbo package that are making it successful?
Yeah, that is going to be quite interesting because the Colts are like never in base defense. They're almost always got the extra DBs on the field, so that obviously puts them at a bit of a size disadvantage when it comes to 12 and 13 personnel. I mean, they're used to practicing against it though, because I do think like Pittsburgh and the Colts are probably 1 or 2 in 12 and 13 personnel usage. So like they're at least used to having that thrown at them in practice. But yeah, I think if Grover Stewart doesn't play, that's going to be a big problem for the Colts because that's their best interior run defender. Jermaine Pratt and Zaire Franklin, as long as they're in right position, should be fine. I don't know. This one is pretty tough though. I do think they want to use the safeties more than the linebackers in coverage with the tight ends, because obviously it's not going to be a run every time, but when they peel off to get some action in the passing game, I do think Lou Anarumo is not in love with the idea of using linebackers against the Steelers tight ends specifically in this one. So it's going to be interesting. Pittsburgh definitely has the advantage on size there. It's somewhere where I think that could be another advantage. But again, I don't know if Pittsburgh will be able to like commit to the run enough for that to really, really be an area where they can snowball and take advantage. Now, on the flip side, though, if the defense can get more than enough stops on the Colts offense and keep them from scoring at the rate that they normally do, then that's where things could get pretty interesting.
So I wanted to ask about that. So take me through the formula you think that Steelers will need to beat the Colts. What happened specifically in the LA game where they lost to the Rams, and I know the Cardinals kept it a little close, but kind of what's the formula for you think for a team to defeat this version of the Indianapolis Colts?
Yeah, so if you take Arizona, Denver, and LA, that's like the three toughest contests the Colts have had so far. And not to say that the Colts can't be beaten or weren't beaten, in the valid sense, but against the Rams, that is easily the game where they had the most mistakes that they made. That's the game where A.D. Mitchell dropped the ball right in front of the end zone. That takes a touchdown off the board. Mitchell also got called for a pretty bad holding call on like a 50-yard Jonathan Taylor touchdown. So he took 2 touchdowns off the board. Daniel Jones had 2 of his 3 picks this season in that game. So like that was a ton of self-inflicted wounds, penalties too, and bad times. Lots and lots of self-inflicted wounds in that Rams game. But I would also say the pass rush was a theme in Denver, LA, and Arizona. Arizona's pass rush isn't quite as good as those other ones, obviously, but if you can find a way to win with four rushers, that's great. Obviously, Pittsburgh can rush the passer a little bit, but if you bring a little extra pressure, you can. I don't want to say rattle Daniel because he hasn't really been rattled yet, but there's definitely been times where he's been consistently flushed out of the pocket and having to go to plan B on certain things. So the pass rush is going to be key. Getting an extra stop or two, maybe. If Pittsburgh's a defense that is pretty good at forcing turnovers, then that might be a good recipe. But yeah, the recipe for beating the Colts or making it really tough on them has been consistent pressure against Jones, forcing turnovers, and then Arizona did some things that really Denver is the only other team that did offensively. And that is to just attack the middle of the field with like quick crossers and slants and stuff. Get your receivers running with the ball and get them kind of matched up against linebackers. I think the Colts are very wary of that right now, though. So I think they'll try and avoid having their linebackers matched up with guys in the short to intermediate stuff too much. But that's definitely some areas I would look to attack. And, with how quickly Aaron Rodgers gets rid of the ball, that's very Matthew Stafford-esque with what they faced against the Rams back in week 4, I think it was. So yeah, I think the Steelers definitely have some things that the Colts should be wary.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the Steelers do get the ball out quickly. DK Metcalf slants, I can think of that. Warren out of the backfield on those routes. Him and Gainwell have been a real weapon for them. But Jake, thanks for coming on, man. Tell them where they can follow your stuff, watch you, read your work, all that great stuff.
Yep. So some of you guys out there might know my co-host Zach Hicks and I. We host the Locked On Colts podcast. That's every Monday through Friday, YouTube and wherever you can listen to podcasts as well. We're everywhere that everybody else is at as well. As a writer, I'm over at Roundtable Sports. I've got all my written Colts coverage out there as well. So some of you may see me in Pittsburgh on Sunday. So if you do, just stop and say hi.
I'll be one of those people seeing you in Pittsburgh on Sunday, Jake. Thanks
Absolutely.
for coming on, man. Make sure to follow him and check out his work. He does great stuff. And Locked On Colts as well to get some great insight from the Colts side of things because he and Zach, I think, are one of the gold standards of Colts coverage. Folks, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell here. You can follow me at Farabaugh FB on Twitter and make sure to read the stuff at penlive.com/Steelers. Thanks for watching, everybody.